So welcome back to part 2, where I'm going to add a strap to this book that we made in part 1. It is a concertina style book, which means it's accordion folded. So we attached various papers all together to make this long strip. And it's glued into the front of the book, but it's not glued into the back so that you could work on both sides. I showed restraint to try to not make it too thick, especially since it's going to likely be more embellished. But I thought because it's going to be more embellished, I should add a closure. And I have 2 of these sari ribbons, which I thought would look quite pretty. I'm leaning towards the gold, although purple and green is so beautiful. I think I'm gonna do the gold. So to attach this ribbon, I'm going to use my crop-a-dile and whatever these are called. What are these called again? What are these called? Grommets. I'm gonna use grommets. Just not totally sure what color. Gonna mark the approximate center here, just so I know where the middle is. And I think I might also, I can't totally decide. I think I'm going to glue this as well as grommet it. So if you don't have one of these crop-a-dile tools, they are actually so fantastic because that just punched a hole through that cover. Like, it was no problem at all. I'm gonna do 2. Oh, those are crooked, but what can you do? That's okay. So I think I'm going to glue this here, and then I'll re-punch, or I might just use an awl to poke through here. Actually, I think I'm gonna glue it folded. So sari fabric is, especially when it's these ribbons, is quite fragile actually, so that's why I'm gluing it in as well as doing a double grommet. So what I should have done is glued this, waited for it to dry, then punched my holes right through the ribbon, which probably would have been much cleaner. right, just don't be impatient like me. So I'm gonna just try to cut this ribbon. And I'm going to put the grommets through this way so that they have a nice finish on the outside cover. I'll just do one at a time to start. Just pushing the fabric down so that it will get caught on the edge and this grommet folds over. And it pinches it all down. All right. In hindsight, what I should have done is put this on first, and then I could have put this over top and had it nice and clean, and I wouldn't be covering up any of my picture. You wouldn't even see this messy side. The ribbon would be more secure, but again, I don't always plan things ahead. If I make it again, I will do differently the next time. Okay, those are secure, that's dry. That I think we'll just wrap. I'm not going to trim this just yet because I haven't decided fully if I'm going to add a closure here that it might wrap around like a brad or something. We'll see. But in the meantime, I do want to add a little extra support over our joins through gluing on some pages. So quite similar to my scrap busting video or frankenpaper video, I'm going to be using bits, gluing on. It'll look very similar to the collage, but it's just going to kind of merge all these pages together. I'm just going to use a glue stick. So I have a few little bits here that I've made or gathered. Actually, I'm going to just use bits from in here. So this is my stash of kind of 1 inch by 6 inch around their sizes of offcuts. So quite similar to making the pages in this book. These will go in here too, actually. Not that one. Just setting these ones aside because they're already in here. And now I'm just gonna start working. Actually, I'm gonna just tidy up my desk area a little bit first to make it easier for me to work. I do find that if I take a minute, put all my tools away, I have clearer mind, clearer space to work. It's just that much better. Okay, let's start gluing in. So some of these I am going to glue to make sure they overlap our seam or our joins, which will add extra strength and stability to our pages. I do want to be conscious though to not do too thick because it will need to be able to bend easily. And as I'm building, I'm going to try to maintain sticking in that neutral palette. I'm not going to do too much, just a little bit to start the pages off, because a lot of them, like this one, are quite just white, plain. And sometimes that is more difficult for me to work on. This, I think, is the most fun little bit of mark making fodder that I've ever made. It was just newspaper strips and I just dotted ink all over it, and this, I don't even know what color it was. It would have been this color, burnt sienna, maybe raw sienna, and I love it. Once there's more collaging and paint and everything, this will be quite secure, but I think that'll do for now. And then I think, because this has all this nice white stenciling, which I think was done with spray paint, and I'm not getting that out right now because I have to do it outside, I am going to just do a little bit of white gesso. Probably with these gluey fingers. And clearly some gel medium, because these are not sticking. And if it's that glue, I'm going to be so bummed. wonder now as I glue this on here if the glue stick doesn't like sticking to this tape as much. That could be my issue. I might have to go and gel matte medium everything. Ooh, that black bled a bit. Alright, so all of that just adds a little bit to each page to kind of break up the background a bit. Make it a little more cohesive. So when I came back to this book a few hours later, I realized I actually wanted to add a little bit more to these background pages, and I decided to just use some basic acrylic paints. This is a yellow ochre, and then I also used a burnt sienna and some black, and one of my favorite tools, my finger, just to paint them on, add some smudges to break up the white space on all of these pages. And even if these colors get covered up later when I'm actually creating in this book, it just helps like that mental freeze that you can sometimes get when you look at the blank page. And that's why I added these collage bits and the little blobs. They might incorporate into future pages, or they might be covered up completely. But that is for a future Riva to decide. After I painted all of those acrylic pieces on, I decided to come in with some watercolor. I wanted to merge those end sheets into my signature piece, so I made that sky, that cloud flow in here. And then I just used some, I think, burnt umber and burnt sienna to just go over all of the edges of my page. It's going to create some nice cohesiveness to all of my spreads. And I think it'll look really nice when the book is closed to see all of those colored edges. This also would have been really fun to do with coffee or maybe rust water, which I have just collected a whole bunch of rusty bits to make into rust water or do some paper and fabric dyeing projects. But that will be a project for later this summer. And yeah, so I just painted on all of these edges, and then I think I ended up just calling it a day on the build of this art journal, and it will get added to my stack of art journals that are to be worked in. But tell me in the comments, would you want an art journal like this? Are you going to make one? And if you don't want to make one, would you be interested in this one? Because I am trying to decide with these art journals whether to list them in my Etsy shop or on my website for sale, or to just keep them and work on them on my own time. So you let me know, what would you prefer? Should I sell some of these art journals that I'm making that I haven't worked in yet, or just leave them up for tutorials so you can learn how to make your own? So thank you so much for joining me on this little part 2 of building out this concertina art journal. It was really fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing yours. If you build one, tag me at Riva Madriga on Instagram, and I would love to check out what you make. See you back here next Friday for another video, and I hope you have a beautiful, creative week. Bye!